great.
All right,
So
we're
whenever
gonna
you're
begin.
ready.
We did our presentation today on phonics. Today, so we have Joshua here, or better known as Ray. We have Janine, we have Julia, and we have myself. So we're going to start off with a brief overview of what phonics is. So phonics, by definition, is a way of teaching reading and spelling that stresses sound-symbol relationships. So that's the key part there, the sound-symbol relationships, breaking it down to its lowest level. Many years ago, I'm sure everybody saw on TV the commercials for like Hooked on Phonics. It was a very big, kind of push from the educational standpoint to teach children, the most basic forms of our language.
Is it sound symbol or symbol sound? Because on the
It sounds simple.
It's a relationship. It doesn't matter who.
okay, because it says symbol sound up there. So.
Okay, now
Yeah.
let me tell you what's the definition of decoding. Decoding has been defined as the act of deciphering a new word by sounding it out. However, this definition cannot convey the critical importance of these seemingly simple skills. Why? Let me give you an example. In an article called "The Role of Decoding in Learning to Read," there is a scenario, which is a group of first grade students. They shows rapt attention when the teacher was reading a story called "Make Ways for Duckling." And after the teacher read the story, they were discussing the story. And the students, they showed their sophistication of the oral language and their knowledge about the real world. However, this book is not accessible to kids as readers. Why? Because these kids, they are unable to read a story independently. That matches the sophistication of their knowledge and the spoken language and their concepts. So, the beauty of teaching children to decode is that even if the word have never been seen before by kids, decoding provides kids with the ability to read words accurately. And here is an extended definition of decoding, which is figuring out the pronunciation of a word by using one's knowledge of the systematic relationships between sounds and letters. And so when we teach decoding and we use phonics instruction, which means the instructional strategy used to teach children to decode words. And there are two phrases I want to explain. The first one is decoding instruction, and the second one is phonics instruction. Actually, these two phrases, they can be used interchangeably. And phonics instruction, it provides strategies allow students to apply their letter sound knowledge when they are reading and spelling. So it is very important. And as for phonic instruction, there are some programs. Actually, there is no program superior than others, but there are two programs here, which seems they can facilitate children to learn words, to read. And the
You have a
first,
question?
So the two types of phonics instruction are systematic instruction and explicit instruction? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
yeah, I will explain it.
Okay. Sorry, I was getting
Those are the two
confused.
keys for implementing phonic instruction.
Okay.
Yeah. And these are two phonics programs. The first one is systematic instruction. It refers to the use of a planned logical sequence to introduce the most useful phonic elements, which means the teacher plan the content when the teacher is teaching
boys and girls, today we're going to use letter sounds that we know to write words. We'll segment the sounds and then write them on your boards. These words we'll use to read sentences and stories. Are you ready? Here's your first word. Remember, I say it, you echo, we segment, then write. When you have your word ready, hold up your board. Ready? My first word is map. What's my word? Map. Let's segment. Map. Map. Write it. Now you help me write it. Map. Okay, raise your board. Tip. 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 Ready? Got me? Write it. Big. Tip. Okay, raise your board. Now help me read my words. Map. Tip. Let's use some of these words in sentences. Ready? Read with me. Are you hot? Read it again. Are you hot? That is a question, isn't it?
Alright, so we can see through the usage of the video that decoding is pretty effective. So, the teacher in the program was using strategies called blending and segmenting. So when she first was introducing the small words, she was having the students count on their fingers the phoneme sounds, and then they were blending the word together. So I think one of the words was hot, so they were going hot, hot, and then bringing it all together. And it was very, like Ray said, very systematic, very explicit. They weren't just pulling random words or not tying it in together. She had specific CVC words, and she was putting it right into a sentence afterwards. So you can tell that there was some logic and some plan. So there's three main reasons why decoding is effective. So the main reason is that comprehension goes up. So there have been plenty of studies done that show that phonics works for raising comprehension. When the children know how to sound out the words themselves, when they can identify specific words in the paragraphs or the sentences, that it works well for them. Oops. The second one is that, so it helps students come to a better understanding that spelling represents the spoken word. So children off the bat hear verbal language, they hear their parents talking, but now at a young age when they start to learn how to read and write, now they connect the verbal language that they've known to the written language that they're being taught. And the third, and I think that it's most key, is that it's helpful for everybody. Phonics instruction can be helpful for any student in any grade, specifically targeting the younger students that are learning their phonemic awareness. Now we've got a nice little interesting beginning sound song. So you guys are gonna enjoy this, I think. So, yes, all right, so yeah, everybody should stand up. We're gonna do this beginning sound song, okay? So this is something that you can use in a classroom setting if you so choose. And it's done by Jack Hartman. He's a very energetic guy, so if you don't mind getting a little active.
Children's songs, sing and move along. Children's songs, make your brain and body strong. You say what I say right after me. You move like I move, just follow me. Let's have lots of fun, play this way. Play with words, I call it wordplay. Repeat after me and move. March, 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 march. March, 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 march. jump, 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 bop, 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 disco, 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 disco. Play with words, I call it wordplay.
Alright, good job.
Alright, so this is a fun example of something that you can use in the classroom. So-
Excellent job, thank you for
Yeah,
participating.
thank you for participating, guys. So in the video, you can tell that he's excited about learning phonics, so that's gonna convey to the students that this isn't just a boring process, that they can have fun. And in the beginning of every word, he makes the sound. So it gets children comfortable with the basic first letter sounds, which is very important anytime you're trying to sound out a word or read it like that. So now we will move on to when should decoding be introduced?
Alright. Decoding should be, instruction should begin at 4 years old. And there's two important insights to remember. One is that spoken words can be segmented into phonemes. It's called phoneme awareness. So, like before, you're saying bop or hot, ot. And the second is that phonemes are represented in print by the alphabet. So, this H, O, T. We're gonna watch a quick video about building phonemic awareness.
Boys and girls, today we're going to sing a song, and it's a little bit of a silly song. And it focuses on the sound T. And we are going to say our names with the sound T in front. So my real name is Lindsay. If I put a T in front of Lindsay, it would be Tinsy. Lauren, what's your real name?
Lauren.
Lauren, how would we say your name if it started with a T?
Torrin.
Torin. Ty, how would your name change?
Ty.
They would say the same. Ty.
10. Mila.
It tells us that we're going to change our name to start with the sound T. It's not the letter T. These lines tell us we're just saying the sound T. Ready? In the classroom, early in the morning, hear the children playing with their sounds. Change your name to start with T. Change your name to start with T. Name with T. Name with T. What's your name? Shout it now. Ty! Excellent. Ty, how would your name change if it was going to start with what?
Why?
And Lauren, how would your name change?
Lauren.
So let's try it to change your name to start with what? In the classroom, early in the morning. Here.
So now what's your names with the T sound?
Tiffany.
Yours would be
No.
tat.
Tat.
Swing it backwards.
Yeah, so I think we all get the point.
I don't know if we do. So
Yeah.
in the video, she was showing that letters make certain sounds, and things see what these are. So there are certain letters that they say you should teach first, rather than going alphabetically. They say you should start with high utility letters, and those are letters that you hear a lot. So A, F, I, M, P, R, S, and T. And I thought I would read you a few of the high utility letters from Dr. Seuss's ABC, so you can hear the sound and see the letter. So we'll start with A. Big egg, little egg, what begins with A? Aunt Annie's alligator. A, A, A. spot is itchy, so am I. And then M, my favorite. Big M, little m. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
E.
Painting pink pajamas, policeman in a pail, Peter Pepper's puppy, and now Papa's in the pail. Big R, little r, Rosie Robin Ross. Rosie's going riding on her red rhinoceros. Big S, little s, silly Sammy Slick. Sipped 6 sodas and got sick, sick, sick. T, 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 T. What begins with T? 10 tired turtles on a Tuttle Tuttle train. So those, it's a good book to kind of relate sounds and letters. All right.
If we want to teach decoding, what material should we prepare? And here we give you some suggestions. Firstly, we can use sound cards. We can use like index cards to make sound cards. And next we can use soundboards for each student and one for the teacher. And here is the soundboard. And actually, in later slides, Andrew will demonstrate the soundboard. And what else? And we can use graphic cards for each soundboard and word cards. And Janine will show you her word cards.
An example of word cards that I've seen with my own children are sight word cards, popcorn sight words. So what they do is at the beginning of every week, you start with a couple words, like 3, of sight words, in case anyone doesn't know what sight words are, just words that are used often, more than others. And what you do is you have a contract. So you get the contract on Monday and then you return it to school on Thursday, and there's different activities you can do with the sight card. So you can like read a story and see how many times the sight words come up, or trace the words on someone's back and let the person guess them. So it's just a way, and then you use them as flashcards as well. And then at the end of the year, they know all of their sight words. So that's just a way of learning their sight words.
Thank you, Janine.
Yes, you're very welcome, Ray.
And beside this, we can also use like books for oral reading. Here's an example. And a notebook for each child. Actually, children they can practice spelling words on the notebook. And what else? A timer or stopwatch and a blank lesson plate. Okay. That's our suggestions for about the materials we can use.
I got it. I'll get mine. Intersection.
Okay, so how to implement decoding in class. There are 2 ways of implementing decoding in class. There's a 5-step plan, which I'm going to go over in more detail later on. But in that 5-step plan, you start with practicing sound symbol associations, practicing phoneme analysis and blending, practice reading phonetic words and high frequency words to gain fluency, because without fluency, comprehension is very hard to attain. Practice reading decodable text and traditional children's stories to build fluency as well, and practice spelling words from dictation. And we're gonna go over all of this in more detail moving forward.
We'll just give them just a second.
Oh,
The people,
sorry.
started copying down.
Oh,
You talk very fast.
I know I do. But we are gonna go into more detail on other slides.
We will.
We'll give you a minute to catch up.
Thank you.
And then another way of implementing decoding as well is the 6 silver patterns in English, which when we move on to the next slide, Andrew will demonstrate for you.
Yes. Does anybody have any questions? So what we have here is a little matching game for you guys. So we're gonna need some audience participation here for this one. So there's the 6 syllable sounds that we have here. So the first one is labeled as a closed syllable. So we have here on the side, we have 1 vowel ends in a consonant, vowels say short sound. 2 vowels make 1 sound, consonant followed by an LE, ends in 1 vowel, the vowel says its name, and 1 vowel followed by R, which controls the pronunciation of the vowel. And the last example is ends with a vowel, consonant, and an E. The vowel says the long sound. So can anybody match up our 6 syllable types to their description? Mike?
Number 2 goes with letter F.
Number 2 goes with F, that's correct. So the final E sound ends with a vowel, consonant, and an E. So final E ends with an E. Pretty easy to remember. Jared?
1 is A.
1 is A, yes. A closed syllable has 1 vowel, ends in a consonant, and the vowel says its short sound. Bob?
5 is E.
5 is E, yep. So a vowel plus an R is 1 vowel followed by an R. Controls, and so the R controls the pronunciation of the preceding vowel. Robin?
Number 4, I think is B.
4 is B. So a vowel team syllable is where 2 vowels make 1 sound. So like the EA in the word eat, it's not E-at, it's just eat. The E and A make one sound, 1 syllable. And then so I think we only have 1 left. We have 2 left. So you've got 3 and 6. 3 and 6.
6 is C.
3 is D, yep. So open syllables end in 1 vowel, and the vowel says its name. And the consonant with the LE syllable, that one's pretty self-explanatory. It's a consonant followed by an LE. It's kind of like little, right? It's the LE, the whole sound. Excellent. Good job, guys. Oh, there's your magic. Didn't go hard. Alright, so now we're going to practice our sound symbol association.
So practicing sound symbol associations is the first step in the 5-step program. And in the 5-step program. One example of a way to help teach children sound symbol associations is with flashcards or using flashcards as a sound path. So a grapheme is the smallest unit in a rating system. It represents a single speech sound or phoneme. So as you can see, it's just either a letter or AI makes I, so it's 1 sound. And by practicing with flashcards, it helps the children recognize the sounds for future uses in the 5-step plan.
And so a grapheme is a letter that makes 1 sound, right? Just in case anybody's. I saw a couple wide out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the follow-up question.
So step 2 is practicing phoneme awareness and blending to learn how to decode accurately. Children are taught to use previously learned sound symbol associations to decode words. There's 2 activities that are used in this step. One is Engelmann's blending, and the other is phoneme analysis using a soundboard. And we're going to talk about them in further detail as well. So, moving on.
Wait 1 second.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Alright, moving on.
Everyone ready?
Just a few more seconds. I was gonna say, if you don't get them right off the bat, you can ask a neighbor, or
Yeah.
you can ask us at the end of this.
Okay.
Alright, so we're gonna go on to the next, which is Engelmann blending.
So, blending teaches children to pronounce as a single unit a consonant followed by a vowel. So, for example, sat. They want you to pronounce, like what we had talked about earlier, and then you repeat it over and over again to get fluency. So as you can see in the image, a way of teaching using Engelmann's blending is race car blending. And you can teach the kids how to push the words together.
Drive it over so they can play with cars.
You're extending the word sound so that way they can really figure out what letters they are and what sounds they are.
Yes, thank you. And then the second way is using phoneme analysis and blending using a sound board. So, example, in this particular example we're going to do today, we're going to use short vowels. So, with short vowels, mat, sat, sip, sit, hit, and pat. And the sequence in this process actually requires children to listen for changes in the initial, final, and medial positions. And Andrew is going to display this with our wonderful sound
So now I kind of feel like a magician here, and I need some audience members to come up and help. So is there any student who would like to come up and help me? Oh, Mr. Clark, excellent. All right, so now to set up a soundboard, you can do it in any different way you would like. So now this one I chose to use magnetics. You could use like a larger, kind of, like the pocket boards, and you could fill in your own index cards. You could use the chalkboard. You can use really whatever you want. So now, Mr. Clark, can I have you come right over here to the side? So we're gonna practice a word called sat, okay? So we're gonna figure out our beginning sound, our middle vowel, and our ending sound. So when you say sat, what is the beginning sound? And now which letter makes this sound? Right. So now we're gonna have like a word bank on top, and then he's gonna create his word on the bottom. So now we have our now we have right. So now we have the S and the A. So now if we're trying to spell sat, we have sat. So now Mike has now made the word sat, right? So now it's also a nice little example, and a key that you can use is to make the vowels red. And as you can see here, the I is also red, and that makes it much easier for the kids to pull out the vowels. Because at this age, there's still a little bit of confusion between consonants and vowels. So we want to make sure that it's nice and easy for them. We're not trying to confuse them. We're trying to make them more confident and more fluent in creating words. So now let's try a second word. So we're going to do pit. So pit starts with what makes the sound. So we have the P. Now we have it. It. Right? So now we have our beginning consonant, we have our middle vowel, and now we're going to end with it. So now, blending all that together, we have pit. Right? Does everybody agree? So now this can be used for many different levels of instruction, but it's very helpful in developing phonic awareness, to build fluency with their letter sounds, and it's also fun. It's a manipulative, and it can easily allow you to check the word. Now, if Mike didn't know that T made the T sound and he put the W down, we can easily just show him, like, nope, the W does not make the T sound, the T makes the T sound, and it's visual for him. It's very easy to just move everything around, create new words. I could ask him to make his own word, so it's very, very easy and very doable. Thank you, Mike. Excellent.
So that is a soundboard. Okay, step 3 in our 5-step plan is practice reading decodable words and high-frequency irregular words to basically build fluency. So after you've gone through the lesson, this is a very quick paced step. children will practice reading words with the same phonetic pattern to develop word reading fluency. And these are examples of some fluency practices with flashcards. And usually how that works is you go through it once. The first time is for accuracy, to make sure that the students know how to say the word. Then you just keep on repeating it for the second time and the third time for fluency.
And like we said, they have all the same last two. So cat, rat, bat, cat, rat. They all have the same last two letters.
Yes. Any questions? No. Yes. Step 4 is practice reading decodable text and traditional children's stories to build fluency. This step is all about reading orally. Oral reading is a key component in this step. Oral reading improves word identification and context, helps readers develop the habit of self-correcting miscues that don't make sense, and gives students immediate instruction in word identification skills. Again, to build fluency. So when you read out loud, like this little girl is in the picture, it allows the teacher to understand if you're getting it or if you're not. And if you're not, they can correct you right there on the spot. So there's no time lapse.
Can you bring that one back?
Sure. Is everybody set?
And that was step 4.
4, yes, that was step 4.
So the key here is reading and rereading.
Develop fluency, step 3.
Out loud to build fluency. Step 5, practice spelling words that contain patterns in previous steps. So, in the first step, you're going to make words with sound. You're going to do your sound symbol associations. You're going to use those same sounds with your soundboard so that the students can learn the words. Then you're going to read for fluency. And then in this step, you're going to spell. And a good example, or a good way to help students learn this is through a dictation notebook. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you what that is. But basically, you start with 3 target sounds, A, I, O, and you write those at the top of the paper. And then you dictate the first word, you teach them, you say it very slowly, you stretch it out so that they hear the vowels and the sounds, and then you ask them to write the word under the appropriate heading. So if you want to skip to the next slide.
Wait.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Is this an example of a
Yeah, this is
dictation?
an example of a dictation.
There's no hardcore
dictation
answer
notebook.
here. This is for you to interpret. So what's a dictation notebook used for?
To record words.
For dictation.
And it can also be used to monitor progress as students move from writing and reading simple closed syllable words to more complex syllable types. Can we move on? So this is an example. You have A, I, and O, and then the teacher would call out words. Hat. I would say it slowly. And then I would say, what heading should that go under? And then you would hopefully put it under A. And then I would call out hot. Sound it out. Hot. And then I would ask you what column that would go under. And then after all the words are done, you create it in context. You put it in a sentence. Jan will skip and jump to the pond.
Alright, so now what we have here is a little video talking about words correct per minute. So this is a formal assessment of how to gauge students' reading ability. In the lower grades, obviously they have a much lower target, and in the higher grades, they're expected to read up to 100 words per minute.
Kids know that decoding instruction is working, and they should be able to decode single words and transfer those to text.
Okay. Okay, as you know that we are starting to test oral reading fluency, I wanted to go over the test.
This right here is our Unit 3, Week 2 test that will be coming up. They'll have to read the title, and they can read the title before you start the timer. This is the same way when you're testing at home, the reading passage that I send home. You can have your child read the title to you and talk about the title before you start the timer. If they immediately do not know one of these names, you can help them sound out the names and then start your timer. You want to set your timer for 1 minute and have your reader sitting on their bottom tracking their print. You'll press start and they will track their print and read. If they come to a word they do not know, kit is a small, say they did not know small. They tried to sound it out, but they did not sound it out correctly. You could circle the word so you can come back to it later. Cat, they'll continue to read. Rex is a big dog. They can't sound this out. Have, you go ahead and tell them that word is have. They continue going. Once the timer goes off, the minute is up, you mark where your child got to. Say they made it to this word right here, sad. You would count how many words per minute they read. This is the rubric that I will be using to grade the test. If they made it to sad, that means that they read 56 words per minute. So words read would be 56. Errors, we said, would be small and have. So they had 2 errors. 56 minus 2 equals 54. So words correct per minute would be 54. Out of words read, which would be 56. When you divide those two numbers, 54 divided by 56, you get 96%. So your child would have read the passage with 96% accuracy.
Alright, so the video goes on to kind of further explain, but I think that for our purposes, we can tell that this is a good assessment for judging whether students have a grasp of their phonics, their beginning word sounds, or their short sight words. And so it's important to know that for the assessment, you take the words correct per minute, you divide it by the number of words read, and then you can judge their accuracy score. And it's important to note the accuracy score because words per minute can fluctuate depending on the difficulty of the words. But if a student is consistently at, like 90%, 90%, 90%, you can tell that they're pretty fluent. But if their percentages are kind of going up and down and their words per minute are staying the same, you can tell that they're kind of struggling with one text versus another. So now we can move on. Is there anything else that you want to add?
There's another group that's gonna cover that too.
Right. So now, how do we know that coding instruction is working? So there's 4 big ways. One is key, and that is assessing, decoding single words and transferring to texts. So that is what Julie was talking about earlier, and that really is the whole entire goal. I mean, if we could only handle one word at a time, it'd be very hard to get through any material. Like as we all know, in our 501 course, there's some pretty dense material. So if we were having to go word to word to word, it'd take forever. So you'd never finish. So learning to decode single words and then transfer them into a body of text is the whole entire point of learning how to read. Is taking certain letters, taking certain words, and moving them into a larger body of text. It's also very key for students to be able to learn to read from left to right. Other cultures don't, but in the American language, you always read from left to right, and that will help with learning different phoneme sounds. Because earlier we talked about the syllable rules, and if a consonant is controlled by a vowel that comes before it, it's important to always know to read the letters that come left to right. The decoding instruction is also good for understanding who has mastery of the material and who is deficient in the material. This can help you individualize instruction for certain students If they're really getting it, you can kind of push them up at a reading level, and if they're not, you can go back to using soundboards, grapheme letter cards, and kind of bring it back down to a basic level. The fourth is to record specific errors and to analyze later, just like she did in the video. There were 2 words that the student missed. She circled it. You're not going to point and laugh and say, oh, they don't know what the word small is. No, you're going to come back to it, and you're going to really show them how to decode that word so that way they are more comfortable with it and it transfers to later reading. Just a continuance here. The words correct per minute assessment is important to track words correct. When you are assessing, the text should be unfamiliar, because if a student has already read it 5 or 6 times, it's not going to give you an accurate reflection of their true decoding ability.
They kind of memorize parts of it, so.
Exactly, yeah. Memorizing is a skill, but it's a different skill. We're trying to teach phonics instruction and decoding awareness, and it's not the same as memorization. Let's see here. So in each grade, they're expected to progress from start to finish. So like I said before, first graders are not held to the same standard as second graders, same for second, third, and fourth. In a chart that we had found that included all the standards, there's an average increase of about 35 words corrected per minute per year. So that's a pretty large growth. So to start off second grade, being able to read about 50 and then moving up to about 85, that's a pretty good goal. So students are really going to have to put in a lot of effort, and the teacher is going to have to match that. The account for regression in summer months, in the table that we found, the students will get up to a certain level at the end of the summer, or the end of the spring really, and then coming into school the next fall, they lower the bar a little bit. So it kind of accounts for that regression of students aren't going to be reading as much in the summertime. So it's a pretty accurate reflection. And then by the end of the 4th grade, on average, students should have a fluency of 123 words correct per minute. So that's a pretty big expectation for students. And so it's very important that at a young age they have a good mastery of their phonics and their decoding skills, because it's going to allow them to read large passages and lead to higher levels of comprehension. So we're going to review the pre-test that you guys had.
Take out your quiz.
Quickly take out, we assigned a little homework assignment for you guys. We wanted to know your basic understanding of phonics beforehand, and now hopefully after this presentation, it's raised a considerable amount.
Alright, so number 1, what did people get for it?
B.
B, good. The long A sound A, like in hay, or in this case, save, long A. We got 2 guys. You just get
D.
D, lat, not A like great or lay, lat, like apple. Okay, which word contains a soft G sound? B,
B.
gem. It makes like the J sound, kind of, yeah. Number 4, what word has the same vowel sound as bright? C, cry, it's making like I sound. I. What vowel sound do you hear in break? C, long A, like we said before, number 1. What is the onset in seat? A, S, seat, obviously, starts with the S sound. Number 7, how many phonemes in Latin?
3.
3, good, because you're going to break it down to sounds. Ooh, ah, like it's kind of spelled like L-A-S. What word contains a vowel digraph?
A.
A, eat, like Andrew was saying before, you're not saying E, at, you're saying eat. The E and the A are kind of together. Which word contains an R controlled vowel?
What A?
A, car, because you're saying
At the end.
R, it's the A is kind of
Okay.
small by the R, it's kind of making. Which word contains a consonant digraph?
D.
D, yes, chin, because you're combining the C and H, chin. Good.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
So, what's the difference between that and like is that like, or is it because it makes a different sound together? Chin.
Well, you're
I
hearing
get it now.
S and T. There's another word for that. We're actually going to go over that in 13. But chin is kind of one sound, like
Yeah.
like a TH kind of. Yeah, good. Okay, what is the
sound? D.
D.
Was it because they have two?
Consonant, vowel, consonant. B. Yeah.
Oh, it's B?
Oh, there's
Long
B,
A,
yeah.
silence E.
Yep,
So it would be
Long A,
B.
silent. Oh, okay.
So what's the answer?
It's
B.
B. Shake. It has the E at the end, and it is consonant,
Oh.
vowel, consonant.
Oh, I'm on the
E.
wrong one. So it's the shape.
CBCE generalization. It's not the
Oh, I
same as
didn't
CBC
oh,
words,
okay.
which
That's
is
what I
like
missed.
car, bat, cat.
Mhm.
This is the CBCE generalization.
Just one sound, so it's the whole consonant.
I didn't see the E there.
The SH has just one
yeah.
sound, so that's the consonant.
Yes, sh, a, k, CBC.
You'll get more of this. This is an introduction.
What does someone have for 13?
I put all.
D.
Oh,
Blend.
okay.
'Cause it's got
Chin,
two at the top.
Like chin
It's-
before. Bash again, the SH makes the same sound. That's only the W sound, but blend, you hear the B and the L. 14. How many syllables in the word ghost? Just one. You have it. Ghost. You don't say ghost. Ghost.
Nice.
Yeah, just let me try it out. You don't believe us. Ghost. Ghost. It's just one breath.
Alright, 15. How many morphemes in the word cat? Anyone know?
No.
There is one, right?
Oh, got it.
Because cat is just one thing.
So now, and a morpheme breaks it down into a word's most meaningful sound. So the k doesn't, what does k mean? It doesn't really mean anything, but
No.
cat is the shortest amount that actually generates an idea of
And morphemes are your suffixes and your prefixes if they're in and out. Then
So-
if you
So now going into 15,
15, look
or
at
15.
16, it's going to be 2. Because so cat is one idea, and then cats, that means multiple cats. So the S there, even though it's just a sound, it now adds to the word, it's a different meaning.
Alright, 17. Which word contains a prefix? C.
C.
Unhappily. Un. Not happily. We're doing it unhappily. 18. Which word contains a suffix?
D.
A. Able. Uncomfortable. Able. Yes.
But then C is emble. But isn't a suffix, wouldn't B-L-E be a suffix?
You are right that it could be a suffix, but disass is not a word.
No.
So
What?
just so if you put emble on the end of disass is not a word.
Okay.
So
okay.
assemble is the whole word itself. So assemble doesn't technically have a suffix.
Alright.
Which one is it?
Alright.
A.
It's a uncomfortable.
Because comfort
Because
is the word.
comfort is the root word and comfortable is comfortable. It has a suffix.
A is a suffix and
And a prefix.
Yeah, so that
That's
technically
right.
has both. The un is the prefix, the able is the suffix.
And you're
Who has an answer for number 19? B.
There you go.
Dollhouse.
Morale
Two-
booster.
You can make dollhouse into two separate words. There's a doll
And
and
a
there's a
house.
house. In other words, you can't break it down to two real
So
words.
standing alone, each word is still a word.
And number 20, which is a contraction.
A.
Can.
Cannot.
So,
Excellent job, guys. So we just have our We're Excited page here. Let you know where we got our information from. And is there any questions, anything that wasn't clear from the presentation? All right. Thank you very much.